In his few months since being with the Perth Wildcats, Alex Sarr has already gone from projected lottery pick to one of the top candidates to be the #1 pick next June. The athletic 7'1" big man has consistently impressed on the defensive end with his versatility and abilities to both cover ground and protect the rim, and though he still has some questions to answer offensively, the flashes have been there in a number of ways, and that gives him a skill set that's hard to keep out of the conversation for the top pick, and right now he might just be the favorite. Now we have to start on the defensive end, as that's where a lot of his appeal currently resides and where you can be pretty confident he'll make a significant impact in the NBA. At that size, his ability to cover ground, rotate, and defend multiple actions as a 4 or 5 man defensively is what stood out most and sort of allows him to make an impact in multiple ways on this end. He's one of the very best rim protectors in this class, probably top 2, frequently using all of his tools from the agility and ground coverage to the length and timing to come up with blocks or change shots at the bucket. He's excelled help side and from a lot of different spots and situations, notably in the Fall Invitational against the Ignite, and he's done a good job just affecting shots in the paint too, averaging over 3 blocks a game per 36 minutes and putting up good block percentage numbers as well. Now there are still times where he'll overhelp, he'll chase a block or contest a shot that then leaves nobody in position to finish a possession that I want to see him continue to get better at, but he has already made clear improvements there in the last several months.
Crossover, gives it up to Smith, going baseline, swatted by Sarr.
In the pick and roll, he's hedged, he's played to the level and switched, and while it hasn't been flawless, the impact is there. He's been able to contain, flip his hips, and stay in plays and recover against all kinds of guards and wings, including the likes of a Ron Holland. And though he's still a big and the footwork can still be a bit more disciplined, there haven't been too many times where he's just been straight blown by or caught giving too much space for easy looks on the perimeter. And that's a highly coveted skill in the modern NBA, and I think he'll be able to do it and even maybe match up with some wings based on what we've seen so far.
It's been a problem for them, really, for this part of 3 seasons. The off-season, 23 points a game. Really helped them in the long run.
Pick and roll with Almanza.
But those shots aren't going to win you games over the course of 40 minutes. 14 points.
And while it can seem like a smaller part of the game, Sarr's motor and effort, especially on the defensive glass, has continued to be improved, and even in moments where he doesn't secure the ball, the taps to his teammates have gotten the job done. When you look around the NBA and see the success of an Evan Mobley, and Nick Claxton, Jaren Jackson Jr., AD, even Chet Holmgren and Victor Wembanyama in ways, you see Sarr as someone that can come in and impact the game somewhere in that vein, roaming at the 4 or maybe playing some 5. And the value of that archetype alone puts him in contention to be the first name called in this class.
Is to Ignite. Holland, he's not waiting for anyone.
Now offensively, there are still quite a few questions as to where Alex Sarr fits, but I do think there is still a lot of long-term intrigue with him, and he's made some significant improvements on this end since we saw him with OTE. He's played quite a bit on the perimeter, even when he's technically been at the 5, and that's partially because of how he's improved as a 3-point shooter. Over this 17-game sample we're using for this, he's shooting about 32% from 3 on 2.5 attempts, 30% on about 2.5 in the NBL regular season. And while those aren't great numbers, it is significant progress, as he shot just 21% or 14 of 66 with the Dreamers last year and just 1 for 22 the year before. The footwork still needs real work, the release can still be a bit inconsistent up top, so I am curious to see where he lands percentage wise by the end of the year, but he's a threat here and I do think he'll shoot it fairly well in the future. I'm just not 100% sure of the level yet.
Sarr, 13.6 boards, 2 blocks for Sarr as Cotton goes back to him again, the teenager.
From there, he's done a good amount of screening or ghosting and popping for shots. He's often attacked closeouts off 1 or 2 dribbles, and you can see the athleticism and upside on full display there. He's hit a handful of post and spin fades from about 8 to 12 feet out, and even though the handle and control over his body isn't really there to the point that I love it, he'll still grab and go in transition and attack on occasion, and it's hard not to be, at the very least, interested in all of this.
Defensively getting some stops, although
How about this? The 7-foot Sarr bringing the ball up, going against Mika.
I've also liked the comfort he has running DHOs. Now, it isn't the most polished, but being able to fake it and take it to the rim or just immediately step into a 3-4 himself has been there. He's also had standout moments as a passer, finding cutters in tight windows, and done some good things as a short roll or interior passer as well that are positive. The right pass isn't always made, and you can still see him reading the floor and processing it at times, but I do like where he's at and what he's shown to this point.
Saw really limited game time last year, Latmire, had a great off-season with the Bendigo Braves in the NBL 1. And
if he can understand the process that comes, he's got 28 games. A little backdoor pass to Kyle.
Finds Cotton. He fires over Ely. On the rim again, boys, but number 4.
And while some may disagree just based off of current production, I do think he is someone that could get you easy offense as a play finisher, whether that's operating as a roll man or playing in the dunker. He's a high-level athlete that's quick off the ground and has good hands. We'll talk about some of the things he'll need to get better at to realize more of that potential in a second, but I do think it's fairly obvious that it's there and could shine more in a different situation. And we'll save coming to more of a conclusion on his offense when we do the official scouting report later in the year, as there are several related factors on both ends that'll determine whether he's a 4 or a 5 and what that all means for the role he best plays in the league.
Hanging too strong. Henschel with another rebound. Solid numbers. He's still in attack mode. Pull-up jumper. Rebound.
Going forward, there are plenty of things myself and others will be watching the rest of the season, and a lot of them we've already mentioned in some capacity, with the defensive discipline and positioning in certain spots, the shooting, and just kind of big idea questions about where he plays at the 4 and the 5. But we've also got a few more to add, and this is what I was alluding to in terms of the play finishing. One of the biggest early questions that's jumped out is his ability to finish in traffic, particularly on non-dunks, as he's shooting just around 58% total at the rim and just 48% on layups. And it's not because of a lack of athleticism. He's not necessarily avoiding contact, but whenever that contact or physicality is there, or he needs to make an in-air adjustment, the results haven't been good in a variety of situations, from playing in the dunker to rolling and cutting and even driving to the rim. Now, given we're still pretty early in his NBL career and the sample size isn't crazy big just given the minutes and role, I'd still give him some time, especially long term, but he did just shoot 49% on layups with the Dreamers in OTE last year, so it's not exactly a whole new development at this level of competition. The part of this is just that physical or strength and weight aspect that he'll need to continue making great progress in, but for someone without a true offensive niche right now, simply converting at a higher clip will be a good start to finding that. Now, piggybacking on the strength and weight point, but this time defensively, another question area is his ability to match up with 5s and handle that physicality in the post, on rebounding situations, and also on drives. Even though he has improved a lot here, he still had difficulty with the Ariel Hukportis, Aaron Baines, and even Adai Mara this summer in FIBA play. This has become kind of a popular topic with Mobley, Chet, and Wemby in 3 consecutive draft years for 4 or 5 men. And I think a similar question applies here, and maybe to a greater extent than at least the last 2 guys.
Chris Smith, 15 poena ako sam dobra praca.
And then Sarr can also be a lot better from the free throw line. He's hovered around 60% this year, and given he shot just 54% there in OTE, it is something that I've highlighted. Some of the finishing touch and free throw questions do make it tougher to be super optimistic in his 3-ball reaching elite status, but it's too early to write the book there, so we'll see where it goes, where the pieces are, and the free throws just happen to be an easy place for him to clean up. Now, in terms of future matchups this season, I think the entire rest of the schedule is equally interesting for him. There's no one I'm particularly interested in seeing him go up against other than maybe an Aaron Baines or a Hukporti again, and maybe Alex Tui just for the prospect part of it. But the thing I'd really be looking forward to seeing is the type of minutes he gets. I guess that would be my main thing, seeing if he gets a little more opportunity, doesn't prematurely shut it down, and then what he does role-wise outside of the specific areas that we've mentioned. It's fairly safe to say Sarr will be a top 5 pick in this draft, and right now he's probably my favorite to go number 1, of course depending on which team actually gets it. Now, I could see a scenario where the minutes are still lower and the offensive production isn't substantial enough to feel ecstatic about taking him first, but I think his combination of athletic tools, defensive impact, and upside on offense as still an 18-year-old make it a fairly easy sell, all things considered. I appreciate y'all for watching this video. If you did enjoy, please be sure to leave a like, subscribe if you are new around here, and leave a comment down below of what you think of Alex Sarr's game. We'll have a lot more of these coming over the next 6 or 7 weeks or so as we get more of a sample from college and the Ignite, so be on the lookout for all that. But as always, I'm Keandre, this is HoopIntellect. Until next time, I'm out.